Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is raising the stakes on Hamas, announcing he'll scrap the ceasefire and resume the war if the hostages aren't released on Saturday. Netanyahu made the statement after President Trump called on Hamas to release all hostages by noon Saturday or face the consequences. Here's the latest on that story and more. After a 4-hour security cabinet meeting, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu issued an ultimatum.
If Hamas
does not return our hostages by Saturday noon, the ceasefire will end and the Israeli Defense Forces will return to intense fighting until Hamas is finally defeated.
It's unclear whether Netanyahu means all the remaining hostages or just the 3 Hamas have been set to free Saturday before postponing their release. One thing is clear, Israel's ready to go back to war in Gaza.
Last night, I instructed the IDF to amass forces inside and surrounding the Gaza Strip. This action is being carried out at this hour and will be completed very soon.
Speaking with reporters in the Oval Office Tuesday, President Donald Trump said he doubts Hamas will free any hostages by Saturday.
I don't think they're going to make the deadline personally. I think they want to play tough guy, but we'll see how tough they are.
In a meeting with Jordan's King Abdullah at the White House, Trump repeated his plan of resettling Gazans in Jordan and Egypt after Hamas is defeated.
We're not going to buy anything. We're going to have it, and we're going to keep it, and we're going to make sure that there's going to be peace.
One reporter asked the president under what authority he would take over Gaza.
Under the U.S. authority.
Trump wants Jordan and Egypt and other nations to take in the people presently residing in Gaza, an issue the king sidestepped in the Oval Office.
Well, I think, as I said earlier, the president is looking at Egypt coming to present their plan. As I said, we will be in Saudi Arabia to discuss how we can work with the president and with the United States. So let's wait until the Egyptians can come and present it to the president and not get ahead of ourselves.
King Abdullah has promised to take in 2,000 sick Gazan children, but after the meeting, he issued a statement opposing resettling Palestinians outside Gaza. Egypt's President el-Sisi also rejects the plan and canceled a scheduled meeting with Trump next week over the issue. Hamas is indicating it's ready to release 3 more hostages Saturday. Israel warns it must do so or it's war.
If those 3 are not released, if Hamas does not return our hostages by Saturday noon, the ceasefire will end and the IDF will resume intense fighting until the final defeat of Hamas.
After seeing 3 nearly starved hostages coming out in the last release, President Trump demanded on Monday Hamas let all the remaining hostages go by this weekend.
Saturday at 12 o'clock, and after that, I would say all hell is going to break out.
But he also left the decision up to Israel.
Saturday at 12, we want them all back. I'm speaking for myself. Israel can override it.
The terrorist group clarified that it would continue releasing hostages, quote, as scheduled, meaning only 3 hostages on Saturday. That ran contrary to Trump's demand to release all of the hostages and some calls by Israeli officials to free all 9 remaining hostages who are alive and supposed to be freed throughout the rest of Phase 1 of the deal. The White House didn't comment on the Hamas plan to release just 3 more hostages Saturday. Hamas has said it was going to delay the hostage release because Israel wasn't keeping up its side of the ceasefire agreement. Hamas said Israel wasn't allowing enough shelters, medical supplies, fuel, and heavy equipment for clearing rubble into Gaza. But now the release of 3 hostages appears to be going ahead. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is set to arrive in the Middle East Saturday to help further the ceasefire and possibly accelerate the release of the remaining hostages. There is also a possibility that Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, will visit in the coming days. According to the Jerusalem Post, the current goal is to accelerate the release of the remaining 9 living hostages, considering the poor condition of some of the hostages released so far. Another Israeli objective is to get more hostages released in Phase 1 of the ceasefire deal. Hamas says it's ready to start negotiations for Phase 2. That would supposedly see Hamas free the last of the living hostages, but Israelis worry that it will be a deadly agreement for the Jewish state because it will also end the war with the terrorist groups still in charge of Gaza.